20, 30 seconds? Do you just want to say next when you want to move on to the next one?
I think 15 seconds is probably enough. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, give us all the same amount of time for each, 15
Yeah.
seconds.
And if that feels fast, we can change it. But
we'll go through a few and then we can kind of just go through. Okay, so I'll go ahead and we'll start right now.
Okay.
Is this a group home? Would you guess?
yeah. There's some animals.
Animals. It's like cheetah cubs or something. Turtles.
No, so now you're gonna flip through the singles as you read
So
the
now-
summaries?
So here's what we can do now. We want to look through everything, look at everything big, and look at every story. Or you can do one, keep it in, and move it forward, and we can go from there. So like, there's ones that you saw here that you're like, I'm just going to out that immediately. We can do that vote now, so we don't.
I-
Yeah, I
There were a
think we should do
couple.
that, yeah.
I kind of want to see them all big, and
Yeah.
I don't want to make everything too long, but I kind of want to give everything its due.
Do you want to just look at the end of each story, and then we can read some of the summaries later?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you see it, can you know you want to out it, tell us now.
Yeah, if you see
Okay.
one, you're just like, I want to out that now, you can go ahead and do that.
Cool.
Okay.
But yeah, but you don't have to vote at this point. You don't.
Okay.
We could probably let that one go. Well, in my opinion.
I'd like, what's the description?
I got it here. It's- I got it. The Next Step Summer Program, a component of the Life Skills Department in the Ability Center, is geared towards high school sophomores experiencing physical and developmental disabilities. Participants live on the University Schools campus for 5 weeks of college and career readiness development. The program helps bridge the gap for students with potential to live, work, and study independently, but who need extra support to do so, especially with job readiness skills, work behaviors, interviewing skills, and independence.
I'm okay cutting that one too. What do you think?
I'd like to keep it in for now.
Okay. You don't have to.
Okay.
Crazy devils.
I could lose that story.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hold up to some of them.
You want to do that one out now?
Yeah, I wish they had entered. I kind of like that last frame as like a portrait. It's kind of interesting. I like frames of this, but I agree that as a story, not so much. I also would be okay cutting the one before this if we're gonna. Yeah.
You want to, since you mentioned it, let's vote for one of those.
Okay. I say out.
I think out too.
Out.
I think it's really hard to do stories on places, and it's sometimes better to like find one subject to kind of follow them instead of a whole bunch of disjointed images
Yeah.
or subjects.
And vote on this one.
Yeah. Out.
Out. Turtles are awesome though.
Yeah. Could you read the description of this?
Yes, yes, yes.
Good question.
The Golden Gate Bridge is seen at dusk in San Francisco. While tourists stroll up and down it every day, on average, someone jumps to their death every 13 minutes. Unlike other iconic structures, the bridge does not have a suicide rate. After the Gamboa family lost their son to suicide, they resolved to do everything they could to campaign for a suicide rate.
I think that's really interesting.
That's a tough story
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
I definitely want to keep that in for now.
Yeah.
So description, please.
Dr. Bassam Shubrala makes an initial incision on the chest of Lou Bennett of Portsmouth, Ohio, during his heart transplant at the Ohio State University Western Medical Center, Rosspark Hospital in Columbus, Ohio. Despite a medical history of first from the Bennett collapse while officiating a 2017 high school football game. Doctors found that he had total blockage of the critical artery and 80% blockage of two other arteries. He was golfing near his home and he got the call that he was down heart attack.
I can lose it.
There's some nice pictures in here, but as a story or a narrative, it's kind of starts out just a little, you really don't know what's going on. I mean, you start getting to the meat of it at the end. I wish I could have seen him before the heart surgery as an introduction if the story's on this guy. But it's an out for me.
Sure.
You have an out for me.
Out.
Yeah, I'm out as well.
I'm just not getting any emotion out of that story.
My stomach can be talking.
I feel like the order in that one's weird. Did you guys think that?
Yeah, it's like an adult prom story or something.
Could we have the description on this one too?
Crawford family, like many in Newark, Ohio, are forced to live in a cramped, unsafe house. The city is lacking in affordable housing, and homes that are in reach of those living in poverty are often owned by absentee landlords and are not kept up to code. Crawfords, who have 6 children, are doing the best they can to make ends meet and build a better life for their children. The children, however, are very close and always run together in half. Where one goes, the others will soon follow.
I'd love to see the house too. Could we have the description on this too?
Single area crown of the Perogue, which is a long narrow canoe made from a single tree trunk on the Ndoki River towards Mbeli Bay inside the Ubale Ndoki National Park some Saturday, March 10, 2018, in the Republic of Congo. Cincinnati Zoo's director, Fang Maynard, and curator of primates Ron Evans traveled to the Republic of Congo on March 2018 to see the wild western lowland gorillas to tour the research sites that the zoo has supported for almost 2 decades. Dave Morgan, the co-director of the Gualalongo Triangle Project and a research fellow at the Lincoln Park Zoo, guided the trip in Umbale Ndoki National Park. The park is collaboratively managed by the Wildlife Conservation Society and the Congolese Ministry in charge of tourism.
This one I want to hear about too. This is the woman getting married in jail, I think, right?
Can you read this one?
Yeah.
Sandra Mendoza, 24, curls her eyelashes at the Springdale home Thursday, February 8th. Mendoza prepares for her wedding to Giancarlos Mendez, 27, who's being held at Morrow County Jail with a removal order to return to the Dominican Republic. Mendez, a dual citizen of Spain and the Dominican Republic, was stopped for driving without a license. This is his second inspection.
Boy, that's a bummer about access.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yep.
kind of the money picture you can't get.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Mm-hmm. Can we hear the description on this one, please?
The USDA defines a food desert as a part of the country where people do not have access to fresh fruit, vegetables, or other healthy foods. The Appalachian region is being faced with the challenge that a lot of Americans take for granted. To combat these food deserts that spread through Appalachia, citizens have cultivated sustainable local food systems. These systems ensure that families can put dinner on the table. Community Food Initiative is an organization located in Athens, Ohio, that helps to foster communities where everyone has equal access to healthy local food. Systems like these are helping to rebuild local living economies throughout Appalachia and give everyone equal opportunities to thrive. Okay.
Description, please, on this one.
On this one? Okay. Well, I don't tend to think that a man should be bossing a woman around for every little thing. I tend to think it really is a partnership. Entering into the 6th year of their marriage, Preston Sylvie and Alfreda Sylvie are thankful for every day they have each other by their side. In 2011, Preston Sylvie and Alfreda Sylvie met on an online dating site. At that moment, Preston, a survivor of a malignant cancer called neuroblastoma, rarely left his hometown where whites ranged from 80 to 90% of the population, while Alfredo was living halfway across the world, the Philippines. And fate brought them together in 2013. From then on, they support each other as a family to navigate the challenges in their life. The distance, Preston's disability, their financial difficulties, stereotypes on cross-race marriage, and cultural differences, none of those can quote, we are thankful for what we have.
Some good work up here.
So the ones that you already voted out, I removed those from the
Cool.
panel.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, I guess we can do a vote,
Sure.
and when you keep it in, is that okay with you guys?
That works.
Yes.
All right.
I say out.
Ready?
Oh, sorry.
Out.
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 In.
In. In. Out.
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 In.
In. In. Out.
Could you read the description, please?
Marge Stephenagel of Jasper, Indiana, has been a widow for 6 years after her husband died of pancreatic cancer. Though she gets lonely and worries constantly with her life at home and pushes herself to stay active. Quote, the kid said, Mom, why don't we sell a place in Joytown? And I said, are you kidding? I'd be dead in 6 months. I'd fall apart. I want to do the routine.
Let's say out.
Out.
Yeah, out.
In.
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 Out.
It's a tough story to tell.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it an in, but with not a lot of hope.
Let's say going out.
Out.
That's all three.
Yeah.
Second round of voting.
That's what about? There we go. Okay, so you're down to 12. Do you want to just go back through everyone's big and hear all the stories sometimes?
I
Could or go ahead.
I don't personally.
Okay.
Not at the, I think if we get it down a little further, maybe I'll want to see more.
Yeah.
Or
This
let's talk
one-
about the ones that we like too, that kind of rise up.
Yeah.
This one doesn't rise up for me. I do like a lot of it, but I think the edit is a little loose and it feels redundant.
Yeah.
It's hard to do, a celebrity, I don't know if he's coming to town for the day or what, but they definitely followed him around and got a lot of interesting pictures.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That it could have been stronger on this. I was waiting for animals. I know who he is, and it's like, where are the animals? And we saw 4 animal pictures kind of tacked on at the end. Well, I guess 5. So
I also wish we could have gotten a better look at his face, like looked into his eyes more.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at this in a grid, his face is all kind of like
The same size.
thumb size. That's not a good description, but you know what I mean. It's all the same size. I'd love, that second row to the right where they're holding, it looks like cheetah cubs or something. Like if the photographer got lower and like tight, I think making there be a little more variety would have helped this.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That,
Oh, sorry. Yeah. But I would say out for this one.
I'd go out.
and I would say out.
And details. We
Yeah,
need
it's a
'em.
really good point.
Is there anything else that you want to, let's just talk about the ones that stick out to you.
I think as an essay, this is pretty successful for, illustrating a story that's really difficult to tell. They brought their own kind of personal view to it, viewpoint, and I think it's pretty
Yeah.
successful. It's not perfect, but it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked the pool story too. I thought that had some strong images in it.
Yeah.
I thought there were some that were kind of. I thought the photographer really worked the situation. I think getting underwater was really great. I think with some of these, they're all kind of similar perspective, but this photographer really worked the scene, I thought.
Can we hear that summary on this?
Dozens of young swimmers were taken to water at Zebra Pool during their first swim practice at a brand new swim team called Over the Line Rhinos, where they made their debut. The swimmers ranged from ages from 4 to 30.
That third photo that brought a smile to my face.
That's a great picture.
Just like, yeah. It's like every time I go to a pool, I kind of want to make that picture, and I've never done it. And that's nice. Good job by the photographer.
I also liked the teen mom story too to the left. I thought they did a good job of showing her at school, and the one to the right of it with the kid. It looks like in school too, and at work and graduation. I thought this had a good arc to it.
You spend a little time with those too. It's definitely nice. Can I see the caption on the image up the upper right? Yeah.
Brooke talks with her friends at AIS High School during a school family night in Painesville, Indiana, September 7th. School has provided supportive network for Brooke, not only staff members, but friends who were campuses.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about this one because I have a conflict.
Oh yeah, Evansville. But I thought this was strong. I don't love the food desert story. I kind of think this collection needs at least one kind of literal photo in it of I want to see the food distribution if they're talking about solving this problem. You kind of have a hint of it with that line, or the one a few over where it's the man outside of his house. I think you're kind of like dancing around it, but I think if you have a collection, it wouldn't hurt to have one where it's like moment, distributing food, solving this issue, or working to solve it at least.
Can you blow up the image on the bottom left?
This one?
Yeah. I guess I want a cooking shot. Someone really working in a kitchen, preparing the food, a family meal time. That's another image I'd like.
Can
Okay,
we-
thank you.
Can we go to the next one where it is the group?
Oh,
Oh, sorry. The next frame, yeah, number 12.
yep.
Okay, yeah. Birthday cake.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I,
Hmm.
this is a tough story to tell as well, and while I like some of the images, it just doesn't come together as a full essay for me, or I don't know if it's hitting all the points that I would want to see for this story, or this type of a story. There are definitely some nice images in here, but
Mhm.
why, could you read the third caption?
Mhm.
I'm just seeing what the point is they're making.
Tracks are seen at double play range.
Yeah, that
Hmm.
doesn't, I think in an essay, every image has to make a point, or else why put it in there? And that's just one of those pictures, I don't see the point, besides it's kind of graphic.
Absolutely.
I'd say out for this one if we're.
Out.
Yeah. And yeah, out as well. And yeah, with something like that that's highly conceptual, I just kind of think every single image should. I mean, you've got so much freedom, creative freedom to do what you want. Every image should just be bang up.
I almost want to see, like, thinking back to the pictorial category of that fish photo that I still love. I want to see, like, okay, what are these people working with? You know, and I've been in some of these grocery stores or gas stations where it's really not, like, show me what the problem is. Show me what they're missing from these places. And I see, I think a little bit maybe that grocery store parking lot, but like, what are people cooking with? Like, show me a shot of, oh, it really is just kind of Cheetos and Spam in here, you know.
Yeah. An empty cabinet
Right.
shot. In
First
essence.
picture, now that I know what the story is.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting because he's looking at it like an apple. You know, it's like, we don't get these very often. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
But
But
I think that was successful.
Yeah. So that's.
But it's still out to me.
Yeah, it's out. Tough story though. Tough story to tell.
Do you want to do around the podium on the ones that are up here?
I could.
Can
do
we
that.
look at them, like, can you click on them just for like 5 seconds? each-
Yeah,
each
to
one,
remind
just
us.
To refresh my memory.
Okay. Sure. I think this one's out.
Same.
Yeah. I think we voted for this one already, right? Or,
Yeah.
Denny, did you like it?
No.
No, out.
no.
Okay.
Do you want to put this one out?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one's out.
Maybe? Okay.
I could lose
Sorry,
gorilla.
we jumped the gun on you getting
Yeah.
voting out.
I think I might have.
Okay.
I could lose gorilla as well.
Why don't we just, we'll go through
Sure.
contest.
Okay.
Go
Let's
from
do
the
it.
beginning.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do voting, so it's 2 to keep it in at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd say in for this.
In. Out.
Thi- I don't think it's an in for me. However, I will say the person put in the time on this story and they came out with, there's some really nice images. I love the praying picture, which I wish it would have been a single. I really like that. Well, I don't know if she's actually praying, but it gives that illusion, whatever it is. But and it's pretty well rounded, and there's a lot of lens choices, and but there's just a couple of images in there that kind of bring it down, like for instance, number 7. I just don't think that quite works, and I say that fluorescent lights are the devil. I do everything I can to try to keep them out of an image, but the whole left side of the frame is so messy and distracting that this may have been more well served to maybe shoot it with a I don't know, little tighter on him and the more detail-ish type picture. But anyway, I just think that there's a better way to make that picture that doesn't hurt the story. But anyway, I'm not in on this one, but I think there are some really solid images in here.
Yeah, I agree. I would say out, but you're right. I really like the number 4 where he's eating. It looks
Yeah.
like I think that's a really. I like the sense of community. 2 people helping him. I thought they illustrated it well, but I don't think it's a top 3 or 5 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, out.
I think it's 3 outs. I'm going out. I-
Sorry.
What-
It
Go ahead.
just every image kind of looks the same. To me, you got multiple people in the frame, except for a couple exceptions, of course, but 2, 3, 4, groups of people, heads all about the same, perspectives similar. You do have that nice detail, that 4, which I like a lot. And that, heck, I'd almost move that up higher, make that a second photo, but I just think it needed a tighter edit. I could have used maybe 6 or 7 photos to tell the same story.
I also, when we were reading the description, I think this story is really important about safe housing. And there's certainly, this kind of reminds me back to the food story. I'd kind of like to see all the kids wide in front of the house. Like, what does this neighborhood look like? What does the outside of this house look like? Because when I look at this, it's all really busy, which I think, admittedly, would be really hard to clean up some of these pictures because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of people. There's a lot in the house. But I think that would be a strong addition.
I like that last image. I really do. I liked it when it was in the singles group, and it just, I don't know, it struck me. Just the lines of the legs and all the socks, and just it was in some way organized chaos. I like that image. It's strong. Anyway, that's all I've got.
What do you think?
I'm still trying to decide what I want to say about this. I think what you guys said is probably correct. It doesn't look like there's enough visual variation when you see them all up here in a bank like this. Could you run through them big, just so I can see it one more time, how it flows? So I look at these images when they're bigger, and they have more impact to me than they do seeing them up here in a bank. But like you really get when they talked about the kids running around together as a pack, taking care of each other. It's like there are certain pictures that, although visually kind of they have that same look, they're saying something different. Although the two are kind of redundant, 6 and 7, it looks like, kids taking care of kids, or, big brother's taking care of little brother or sister. And that's kind of repeated throughout, but I don't know if that's like a hit on it or it's just the way it is. I mean, they're always taking care of each other. There's the one in the kitchen where the older kid is helping the little kids
With
as
the
well.
drink.
Yeah.
So it's probably a little redundant. You made the point once. So I don't know. I like a lot of pictures in this, and I think it's well shot, but it does, I would like to see a little more, and I think the point about seeing the outside of the house might be nice, just to give a little actual sense of place. I think you get it kind of in the first one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It gives an idea of the disheveled fence and the, just their environment, but I don't know. Looks dangerous. That's a dangerous place.
Yeah. It also looks like a one day shoot or one afternoon shoot. And who knows, could have been a tight deadline situation, but I would have liked to have seen a little more time spent with this. But
All right.
yeah, there are
Yeah,
some
you
strong
guys-
images.
Ready to vote?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd say out.
out.
Out. I think this is a really interesting subject. I've never seen this before. I kind of feel like there's a lot of redundancy in some of the images, though, just in the making of himself
Mm-hmm.
or herself. I think the picture of the upper right one is a really interesting portrait for me. Just kind of halfway in, halfway out kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think you need 2 pictures of them putting on makeup.
Or 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Denny. Definitely.
It's a great subject. But I love how they're showing. I like the juxtaposition of the 2 images, 8 and 9, where just being a kid and then going out and performing. But the thing that I find really interesting is how people are like handing him dollars.
Yes.
That is the one image where
Yep.
he's on stage. That's just disturbing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I have a caption on this? Especially with the guy on the right. I mean, it just feels creepy.
Jacob Weasley now interacts with patrons while performing his drag queen Miss Mayhem Saturday, August 2018 at Legends Show Club in Toledo, Ohio. Quote, "That's where I walk on stage, I'm really nervous, but when the spotlight hits me, I'm like, here I go."
How the story strikes me is awesome subject matter. If this person can keep going back and spending more time, I think there's definitely something there, but I'd like better versions of some of these images. Or like, for example, number 7, I think, if you just say, hang on, let's just take a few minutes in here and knock out a few portraits. Like clearly this kid is super comfortable being photographed, and I think comfortable with the photographer because they've spent some time on it. Like, let's make like a sick portrait, like maybe light it or, try a few different things. I'm with you on the makeup shots. I think like maybe get one of those, because it looks like, 3, 4, 5, 7 are all in the same room at the same thing. But I do really appreciate, like, I like number 11, how they have him being a kid in a different sense. But I think some of the technical, I have some hang-ups technically, and some of the frames are messy for me, so for me it's out. But if I were looking at this, having a conversation with the photographer, I'd be like, hey, this is a sick starting point to build off of.
For our more senior people listening, sick is a good thing.
Yeah.
So just to
No,
clarify.
I mean, like, how
It's
cool.
good.
What a cool story. I just think some of the executions on some of the pictures leave me wanting more.
Yeah. That number 9 image there is nuts. I mean, that photo is nuts. It's like, look at this. It's a little kid just flipping around doing wacky stuff like little kids. I couldn't think to do that in a million years, or I don't have the body dexterity to do that. And then you just got money and yeah, Denny. I mean, and Maddie. This is a powerful image and strong, and I can see a story like this getting a really, really strong reader response. I'm sure the comments on social were, it had to be heavily moderated for a lot of reasons, but it's a great subject matter. Yeah, I mean, what a find. And I'm glad we have number 2, because it looks like mom sitting right there, because I'm like, where's mom and dad, or mom or dad? And it's yeah, that's a very necessary photo, and the photographer, I think these are well cropped. Can you go to the grid? I think these are well cropped images and well thought out, especially that number 6, leaving that gentleman on the far right, was, you know, people maybe less experienced or not as good at cropping might have chosen to chop a lot of that right side out, but that definitely would have been a bad call.
I really wish this one would have been entered in singles.
Yeah.
Instead of the one that was entered in singles. And I'm sorry, photographer.
Yeah.
This is always hindsight when you're trying to put stuff like this together, but they had entered the top left
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
which just isn't nearly the image.
No. Right.
But like I have so many ideas like this. I'm thinking like, okay, just tell the kid to like hold there for a second. If you can use like a prime lens and that cool light, imagine how awesome a portrait there would be.
Yeah.
You know.
Like a 85 1.8 or
Yeah.
something.
Oh my gosh, gorgeous.
Yes.
We're ready to vote.
Yeah, I say out.
Out.
Good job, photographer.
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
We love
really
you.
good job, definitely.
Yeah. That bottom left image, you like the faces. All right. It looks nice, big. Okay, that's it. Yeah.
I would like to keep this one in for more discussion at least. I think this is like a really strong, tightly edited story.
I'd keep this.
Yeah.
I'm an out.
This is another one that just feels, I don't know if I'd call it redundant, but just trying to make sure that they have the picture of the zoo curator or whoever. It feels like those are the weaker images to me.
Yeah.
And so if you kind of lose those 2 images, it has a better flow and feel to it. Number 3
3 and
and
7.
number 7.
Yes. Right. Same photo.
Yeah, I mean, they're different, but I don't know. They don't give me the same feel as the other images do. And can I get a caption of number 8?
A logging truck hauling felled trees is transported across the Sango River on barge. Some of the trees logging companies are cutting down to be up to 900 years old. This This is big business here. Dave Morgan and WCS are working with the logging companies to minimize the environmental impact of this economy.
To me, this wasn't one of the stronger images, but it does have a place. And sometimes when you're telling a story, you need to, tell the complete story. And this is, not a bad image. It just wasn't one of the stronger ones, but.
Is it okay? Can
To
we look
me.
through them big again? Just kind of a quick, like, 2-second each.
I wonder if that logging picture might have been better done with a photo of a stump in the forest, something cut down, which might give you an opportunity for a better image and tell the same story.
Almost.
Yeah,
It's tough when you know the photographer
got their shots and
went
got
out. I mean,
Yep.
somebody's newspaper actually paid them to go out and cover the gorillas in the Congo. I mean, I guess, I don't know if I'm kind of mesmerized by that or like, I can't believe it. And so I kind of want to reward the person, but this couldn't have been an easy story to do.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like some of the stuff that I'm missing, I'm like, I'm sure you can't get a picture of this zoo man hugging a baby gorilla. Like, I'm sure there's so many obstacles that they have to face. And I think there's so many individually that I really like. Like, I really like frame number 5. I think there were scientists that said, researchers. I think that's a really cool, striking picture.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job of, I like the fact that you're looking into a gorilla's eye in number 4. I think that's pretty cool.
That's one where you'd lose your, I don't know, how do I say this tastefully? You'd be pretty terrified making number 4.
Yeah.
And I have a our gentleman in 3 and 7, I have a hard time believing he had no emotion other than what was presented. Surely at some point he did something that's, engaging with people or talking or something that gives you more of a sense than he's just kind of standing there with his mouth closed looking at stuff.
I think it's fair to say it is missing human interaction and emotion, because in 5 they're interacting, but it's far away and you can't see their faces. And I'm sure when they're in the jungle, you have to kind of be quiet, I would imagine. But you do have the playing cards frame, and so they're kind of on the periphery of it. I'm with you. It would have been cool to see the zoo representative interacting with people or having a moment with other researchers or kind of finding out more, because correct me if I'm wrong on the caption, he's going and seeing the research that's been partnered or sponsored with the zoo in the States.
Yeah.
Just generally, it's
Kind of a follow the money story.
right.
Yeah, so Cincinnati Zoo Director Thane Maynard, curator Brian Bryant, traveled to the Republic of Congo in March 2018 to see the wild western golden goat and tour the research sites of the zoo is supported by this.
Yeah.
What do you think about leading that image 5? What if they'd led with that image?
I think that would have set a different tone for sure.
Yeah. That image of the hazmat looking stuff. Which
The very first image is probably, to me, one of the weaker images.
Yeah.
I think that he's got a pole or maybe an oar,
Yeah.
but I would like to see more of the action. It's kind of this off moment and it gets lost in the lighting. The t-shirt's not helping. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when you start out a story, generally you want to go with a stronger image. Well, in my,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. The lines
But
are
I know
nice.
what they were thinking.
Sure.
They're like, oh, we're on safari.
Yeah.
We're heading out. We're looking
Right.
for the gorillas.
And they like those lines of the oar. I mean, the lines are really, it's nice. You've got the reeds on the right side and the oar lines up and the
Well, I like the
tree
symmetry
line.
of it.
Yeah.
It's just the oar gets lost down into the muck.
Yep.
And if there was some highlight hitting it, little sun flashing off it, it would be a different picture.
Yeah.
I would agree. I'd almost swap photo number 1 and number 5 in the order, or yeah. Damn it.
I know. I
I
want to like this more.
I wish we could arrange it how we did with the singles and be like, how do you feel now with this reorder?
Unfortunately, we cannot.
I know. Can we just keep it to see? I think that see if it's an honorable mention.
We need
well in.
Oh, in.
2 for in.
In for sure.
In. Going in.
Can you
This
read- I'm
one
sorry.
bothers me because
Yeah.
it's like preparation, leading you up to the big moment, and then you don't get the big moment, and then she's turning around and leaving.
Could you read a few?
And I know it's a bummer,
Sorry.
but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just the way it is.
Yeah.
Are there any specific images you want to add?
3.
3?
Ricky Solis 6 lays in bed after his mom and in a blazer and button-down shirt for his mom's wedding Thursday, February 8, 2018. After an auto crash in February 2017, Ricky suffered severe injuries, including paraplegia and brain trauma. His mother's fiance, Giancarlos Mendez, helped as a caretaker before he was detained by ICE in December of 2017.
Damn.
I wish the story was about this kid a little more. I'm with you. I think that if I'm sure they tried to get access, but they didn't. I don't know.
Well,
It's
I think it's a great way to cover a story,
Yeah.
about ICE and what's going on with immigration and deportation and all that. Definitely. It's just what I'm seeing up here it just feels redundant. It's kind of like the Makeup Kid story, where it's just all these pictures of preparation to do something, and then they cut you off the knees and say you can't come in and photograph the wedding. I mean, you don't even see Dad.
Right.
And I know that may be making a point somehow. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's just kind of it's not the photographer's fault.
No,
it's just
it's
the
not.
story just doesn't come together completely for me.
Would it have made it better or more complete for either of you if someone would have had a photo of Dad just holding it in their hand? Maybe the background is the prison, or at some point doing that,
Well-
inserted.
What's number 5? Can we see that big? Is that Dad? Yeah.
A photo
Okay.
of Giancarlos Mendez hugging Ricky Solis is displayed in Ricky's room among all of his medical supplies.
Unfortunately, I see that they got Dad in there, but it's
Yeah.
so dominated by the Johnsons' baby wash.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
You've got to make that picture somehow, make it pop on him, somehow, if that's your point.
Right.
And what if, can you go back to the grid? What if photo number 3 were the very first image? And so you put that first, you put either 1 or 2 in that second hole. Maybe take the makeup shot and eliminate it.
Right.
And have kid in bed, mom with her dress, Dad picture Johnson baby wash as 3, and then maybe go that portrait as 4. That would have ordered it so, because you do have a lot of shots of the kid, and I feel for me, it is about him,
Yeah.
but I want the order to emphasize that more right off the bat.
Could you read the caption of number 11?
After Sandra Linder, Juan Carlos Mendez inside the Morrow County Jail, she comforts her son Ricky and she tells him that he will not be able to see his stepfather.
Can I see the next image, Big?
I see you thinking.
Pardon me?
I think I know what you're going to say.
Well, it's like this happy picture, and that's not I mean, maybe she is happy. She just married the man she
Yeah.
loves, even though he's getting deported. But to fit in with kind of the narrative that I think this story is going for, that she wouldn't be happy after this. I mean, it's not the way to end the story, I don't think.
And with the
maybe it
photo
is,
before,
right?
potentially, and with
Yeah.
that photo number 11 as the ender.
Yeah, to me, kind of like the compelling, like the thesis of this would be the strain of having the stepfather in prison to this son and the love between the mom and the son. And I think it gets diluted a little bit with pictures of her prepping for the wedding, when I think the story is bigger than the wedding day.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
You know, I think like, okay, like bringing flowers into the jail, you know, like, but when I look through this just as kind of like an absorber of news, I think, oh, I want to know more about mom and son, you know, like look at that list in the number 3, that list to the right hanging on the wall of all the things that they need to check, you know, like that's a lot to do. And I would like to see kind of more of that process than her getting the dress on. That's what I think when I look at these.
You just said it better than I could.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
And thank you.
Yeah, for that.
Ooh, yeah.
It's an out for me.
Just need a stronger edit.
Yeah, I agree. I say out, but I really like a few of these singles.
Yeah. Damn. Kudos to the photographer, though. That's a. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry.
So I think this is pretty well done.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really nice images, kind of surprise images. You know, seeing them as singles, I don't know if they held up as well, but when you see them in a story, I think that it's pretty successful. I really like the number 7 frame, where it's like, you know, showing the disability without showing the disability and adding a little funky light too. I don't know. I guess I'm a sucker for those, but it's kind of a detailed picture without, you know, a close-up detail shot.
Sure.
Can I see all of them? And I like the one where he's in the living room, the one right before that. I think that's really solid, showing the strain and
Yeah.
kind of normal life. And his brother, I'm guessing his brother's just ignoring him, which is typical, you know.
I'm wondering if you guys feel like this is missing or it's in there in a different frame. I would kind of like to see some juxtaposition between this kid and his. This is a new life in the U.S. for him, right? He came from Palestine.
I believe so. He got shot in the leg.
I'll read, you want to read the story summary?
Yes.
Sure.
Abdelrahman Nofal, the ruler of Gaza, lost his left leg to an Israeli soldier's bullet as he played soccer in a protest. Through the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund, he spent months in the USA receiving the prosthesis. During his time here, he built close relationships and found a close community. Quote, the best thing about him coming here was that he learned how to be a kid. Khalid, Boot, Bakr, a host of the Boots said. He came here as an adult.
I want to see him with other kids. I don't know if that happened or not, but I'd be kind of curious to see if there's. That's what I feel like is missing. Him outside his bubble. I'd love to see him with. He looks like he's around adults all the time, which maybe that is the story. I'd like to
think
talk
it
about
is.
that, but
Yeah. it's kind of a solitary
Mm-hmm.
existence for him because he doesn't really know anybody.
Yeah.
What's
And, you know, he's going through all this, you know, so. I don't know, I like, there's a lot of visual variety in here too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, different lens choices and the closer's pretty nice, you know. The teary eyes, I mean, it's,
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that 8 image.
I don't know, this isn't my number one, but I think this is one of the, to me, is one of the stronger, more complete stories.
I'd agree with that. I think I want to keep it in the mix to honor it with something, but
So, is that 2 in?
Yeah.
yeah, I'd say in.
3 inch, yep. It's a- Hmm.
This is tough.
Yeah, it is. A lot of variables.
I want to go shoot that drag kid story. Okay,
All right.
2, 3, 4. All right.
Is there anything that rises above the rest that sticks out?
I'm sorry, I was looking down and fiddling around. Can you go super quick?
Yeah.
Go back from 1? Okay.
Go ahead, go ahead.
My top 3, I really like the Teen Mom, the pool, and the San Francisco Bridge. Those are the ones that stick out to me, not necessarily in that order, but that, and this, I think, are the strongest for me.
How do we feel about Gorilla?
As, well, that's what I was just going to mention. Looking at all these banks of images, this is the one that seems like it just doesn't fit. It just, the editing is just weaker
Yeah.
than the others.
Eliminate Gorilla?
Yeah, I'm sad about it.
Can we
but
vote?
You can.
Out.
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 Sorry, please keep sending people on
Yeah.
exotic
Yeah.
trips.
Yes.
So Maddie's for kind of her top 3, or anybody want to nominate anything for the same place, or?
Could you read the?
I guess the question now, since you've got down the board, is you can decide you want to recognize all these as honorable.
Could you read the McDonald's cup picture caption?
This one right here?
Yeah.
Kimberly Renee Gamboa, Kyle's mother, refuses to watch the last cup Kyle drank from. He had stopped at McDonald's to get orange juice and was sandwich on his drive to San Francisco before jumping into the Golden Gate Bridge.
Damn.
Oh, man. Wow.
Okay.
You're saying, why is that in there?
Well, I knew there had to be a story to it
Exactly,
because
yeah.
this photographer's clearly talented, and but it seemed random. I was wondering.
Can I see the caption on 9, please?
Priya Clemens left Director of Public Affairs and Paolo Kosulich Schwartz, Public Affairs Specialist, both for the Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District, watch an update on the construction of the suicide barrier on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Hmm. Thank you.
Does it bother you guys at all that you don't? I mean, I guess the first one you see the bridge, kinda.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm biased. I've seen so many like artsy, cool pictures of that bridge. I don't think it's enough to like knock it or anything. I think there's a lot of cool variety to it, but
I don't know. I love this. I just love it. And as someone who's lived out here, I knew what this story was, just looking through the pictures.
could you read 10 and 11 for us, or pull them up so we can read them?
Erica Brooks, who
Lost her.
Adopted daughter to a Golden Gate Bridge suicide writes names of other suicide victims at Baker Beach. Throughout the day, families and friends take turns writing every recorded name of a bridge suicide victim, around 2,000, in the sand, and watch the waves wash them away.
Wow.
Kathy Conway, far right, Kyle's grandmother, holds hands with survivors as Dana Bart, the third from left, burns sage at Baker Beach. Dana lost his son Donovan Bart to a Golden Gate Bridge suicide in 2008 and started quoting names in the sand.
A silhouette that works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that number 8, could you blow that up, please?
I think that's really nice.
That, wow, huh?
Alcatraz, the city, the boats.
Hints of Twizzlers.
Yeah. It's a well thought out image.
Can we, and this may be crazy talk, but can we maybe go through all of them large one more time? I love that number 7.
Yeah.
Boy, those are all strong.
Mm-hmm.
The wild card is that bridge
Mm-hmm.
story.
This one?
Yeah.
It's so unconventional. That's going to be a lover. Don't quite love as much. Either of you feel that the kid missing his leg and teen mom are kind of competing against each other?
I think the teen mom one is stronger. To me, the kid with the prosthetic is honorable mention, and then I'm struggling with the order of the other 3. That's where I am with it.
How about you, Denny?
My honorable mention is this story right here. And it's tough on the other 3.
Because they're really so different.
They are.
Because I think the pool one, though it might be kind of I don't want to say easier because, everything has its challenges to shoot, but it's a very, fun, colorful, happy story, but I think it has some really strong, graphic, compelling images in it. Whereas I think that the Teen Mom is the most traditional kind of story arc, and then the San Francisco Bridge is really unique, and the photographer, I think, did a really good job of piecing together the absence of the event that it's really about.
Could this one have benefited from a slightly tighter edit? The not that one, the Palestinian gentleman.
Yes.
That bottom left image, could maybe lose that
Definitely.
photo. Go full grid again, please. Number 2 and number 4 kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah. What do you guys have for a first?
I have bridge.
I'm leaning towards bridge, teen mom, pool, and then this honorable mention.
I'm leaning toward this as third.
Yeah.
This,
Yes.
Can you flip through teen mom photos again, big, please? Okay.
We've got apples and oranges for sure.
Yeah. I really like that pool. I personally like pool better than teen mom, and I would
Okay.
put teen mom as third. Purely because this is it's an easy shoot, but it's a difficult shoot to get really strong images from. And there are a lot of really strong images in this. The photographer really stretched out and saw a lot of different possibilities. I want to reward the effort with something that's very routine in this shoot.
I think that being said, I think this could have had a tighter edit. I think we are recognizing it already, and I don't know. I agree. I don't want to go all in on it's a really tough shoot bucket with you on this. I think that you could easily go in here and make some messy pictures that aren't so great, but I do think they had so much in their favor for this too. You know, bright blue water, the buildings in the background are like kind of cool brick buildings. You've got kids that are doing a really good job of not being super camera aware, but good looking kids who are smiling in bright bathing suits. You know, I think they did a really good job. I just wouldn't push it above
Teen mom.
the teen mom personally, because I think that this is spending a lot of time with somebody in different situations. I think it's more of a emotional story to tell.
I can live with that. Denny, are you teen mom as 2?
Yeah, I feel like since I
You
I have to
edited this,
sit out
didn't
this.
you? Yeah.
um,
But are we all comfortable with the San Francisco one being 1? I like that there.
I am.
I think it's really well done.
I think how it is up there now is the order
that's
I like.
okay. So this one for first.
Yes.
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 This one for second.
Yes.
Yes.
This one for third.
Yes.
See,
Shortcut first. And this one for an honorable mention.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Good stories.
Cool. Yeah. There are a lot of
This
really
is difficult.
yeah.
90-minute category, I figured.
Wow.